Hello, today we will be graphing logarithmic functions. So we're going to start off by graphing our old stuff, our exponential functions as a review. So when you create your table of values, we used -1, 0, and 1 for your x values. We did 1 over your base, 1, and your base as your y value. So we can go ahead and actually graph those coordinate points. If we wanted to add a couple more, we could add a couple more just for kicks if we wanted to. And this is our exponential graph. As we know, all exponential functions have a domain of -infinity to +infinity, and the range depends on your graph. For this one, it goes from 0 to infinity, but it never touches 0 because y = 0 is the asymptote. So we're going to take this and we're going to take our knowledge of inverses to graph the inverse of the exponential. So we are going to switch x and y, which means -1, 0, and 1 become our y value, and 1 over 2, 1, and 2 become our x value. When we graph the inverse, just as a check, the range of the original function should be the domain of the inverse, and vice versa. So if that does not happen, that means something's happening with our graph. So let's check this out. 1/2 comma -1, 1 comma 0, 2 comma 1. And if you wanted to extend it to the 2 points that were graphed on top of the other ones, this is what your graph would look like. So as we're looking at this, first of all, our domain lines up from 0 to infinity, and our range is -infinity to +infinity on this graph. But if we're looking at our asymptotes, our original asymptote was a horizontal asymptote here at y = 0. But when we graph the inverse, this y is going to become an x because we are switching x and y. And your asymptote here is going to become a vertical asymptote. Now, algebraically, let's take a look at what we just did. If we were to algebraically solve for the inverse, we would create an equation where x equals 2 to the y. This is what we just graphed right here. But we don't normally like looking at it like this. We like seeing the y by itself. So right now we need to get out of exponential form. And because y is the exponent, we're going to write this as a logarithm. So the base of the problem is 2. And inside of the logarithm with the base of 2, you should see x. We just graphed our first logarithm. So if we view exponents and logarithms as inverses, that actually gives us one method of graphing something that looks like this. Y = log base 3 of x. So if we're looking at this and saying, well, I don't know how to do that, but I know how to do the exponential, we could go ahead and switch x and y, and we could get out of log form. We could do y = the base of 3 to the x power. And we could graph this because this is something we are familiar with. So -1, 0, and 1, 1 over 3, 1, and 3. And then to get us back to the log that we're actually supposed to graph, then you could switch those values. So 1 over 3, 1, and 3, -1, 0, and 1. If you graphed each of those, that would be enough then to get you the picture of this logarithm. Your domain then you could pull right off the graph from left to right. Our graph gets close to 0 but never touches it and goes to the right for forever. And our graph goes from low to high for forever. And the other new thing about the logarithms is it has a vertical asymptote at x equals. For this case, it is 0 because it's not being moved left or right at all. Now, at sometimes graphing the original exponential and then flipping it for the logarithm becomes cumbersome if there's a lot of other like shifting involved and stretching. So there is another way to graph logarithms using what you know with exponentials. Now, we'll get to that in just a second. I did want to show you a picture of what logarithms could look like. So if you had something that was exponential growth, if you imagine flipping that over the line y = x, your graph of that corresponding logarithm would look like this. So sometimes your graphs are going to start low and end high. However, if you had something that was exponential decay, and you imagine flipping that over the line y equals x, sometimes your graphs of logarithms will start high and end low, going from left to right. So just be careful with your graphs. They could look like either one of those, which both kind of look exponential-ish. So you have to be really careful with graphing them and graphing any asymptotes involved with logarithms so that you can clearly see that it is a logarithm. So to generate our points, what we did initially as exponentials is we looked at a base to the negative first power and we got the reciprocal of the base. The base to the 0 power was 1 and the base to the first power was the base itself. So we just stole these numbers as our x and our y. So we're going to look at that as a logarithm. The log base b of 1 over b, the answer to that is -1 because the answer is the exponent. Log base b of 1 is 0 and log base b of b is 1. And so to actually graph logarithms, these are going to be the table of values that we look at. So our x values are now going to be 1 over b, 1 and b, and our y values are going to be -1, 0, and 1. So when you get to a logarithm, we're going to steal those using the base of the problem. So let's take a look at A. First thing to notice here is it's a logarithm and it has a base of 5. So when you are creating your table of values, normally you'd write -1, 0, and 1 for your x's if it were exponential, but you're going to write it for your y's because it's the inverse. And normally 1 over your base 1 and your base are your y values for exponential, but we're going to use those as the x values for your logarithm. And your base in this case is 5, so my x values are 1 over 5, 1, and 5. We're not shifting left and right at all yet. We're just kind of doing basic logs and then we'll move them. So we can just go ahead and graph. 1/5 is like 0.2. So we want to go 0.2 comma -1, 1 comma 0, and 5 comma 1. Here is our graph of our logarithm. So where exponential graphs always had a domain that was -infinity to +infinity, logarithms have the corresponding range then that is -infinity to +infinity. But the domain is going to be restricted based off of the asymptote. So every logarithm should have a vertical asymptote, which means it's going to be x equals some number. And if it's not moving left or right at all, it's going to start at 0. And wherever that asymptote is going to be where your domain starts initially. So 0 with a parentheses to the right for forever. So looking at this next one, part B is going to be the same idea. So your y values here are -1, 0, and 1, but your x values are based off of the base of 1/4. Since we're doing 1 over your base, and your base is a fraction, the reciprocal of that makes the first x value just 4. The next x value is just 1, and then your base here is 1/4. So we can graph these ones, 4 comma -1, 1 comma 0, and 1/4 comma 1. And here's where your graph then is going to start high and end low there. This makes your domain 0 to infinity. Your range is your freebie for logarithms. It's -infinity to infinity. And your asymptote is still x equals 0 until we start moving it all around. So the nice news here is that graphs of logs are going to get shifted around exactly the same way as all of your other functions. So anything inside with the x is going to move left and right. Anything added or subtracted after or not inside of the logarithm is going to go up and down. If there were an a value, that would be a vertical stretch. But the biggest thing here to note is normally your asymptote is x equals 0. So you know it's going to be x equals some number. But for logarithms, what changes your vertical asymptotes is your left and your right shift. So whatever you're moving left and right, that is where your asymptote is going to be. So for instance, if you look at C, we should be able to say it's flipped over the x-axis, it is vertically stretched by 3, it is moved right 2 and up 1. And with all of that knowledge, since it's moved right 2, that is your h value, your asymptote for this one is going to be x equals 2. And on your graph grid, pretty much immediately, you want to draw this vertical line here at 2. Because then if something crosses it, you know something went wrong. So now we actually have to create our table of values. So we're going to do our x and our y. Our base for this problem is 10. So our x values are 1 over 10, 1 and 10. Our y values are -1, 0, and 1. For your x values, you always add h. For your y values, you always multiply by a and then add k. So we are going to take each of these x values and we're going to add 2 to them. So it's going to become 2 and 1/10, 3 and 12. Your y values here, you're going to multiply by -3 and then add 1 to it. So your first y value becomes 4. Your next y value becomes 1. And your final one becomes -2. These are now the points that you use to generate your graph. So 2 and 1/10, comma 4, 3, comma 1, and 12, comma -2. We're doing good here because we get close to our asymptote but never cross it. And we can see that this looks like the slide kind of flipped over the line y equals x. So our domain will always match your asymptote here. So it's 2 to infinity. And your range will always be -infinity to positive infinity. So let's go ahead and take a look at D. If you're ready, you can just go ahead and graph it yourself and then fast forward and see if your graph matches at the end. But if you want to hear another explanation, feel free to go through it with me. So looking at this, we have our base of 1/6. So 1 over your base, 1 in your base would give you those values. -1, 0, and 1 are your y values. You have to be careful because this +1 here is actually up 1 because it's not in parentheses, which means your asymptote is still going to be at x equals 0. And because of that, you actually could just do your domain and your range right now, 0 to infinity, and then -to infinity for your range. So when we take our x values and we start adding h to them, we actually don't have an h value, so they're going to stay 6, 1, and 1/6. Your y values, when we multiply by a and then add k, we would end up getting values of -2, 1, and 4. We can then go ahead and graph each of those points. And create our nice logarithmic function with our vertical asymptote here at 0. So I think on that note, I think we're probably good with graphing logarithms. If you have any questions, let me know, and thank you for listening.